Welcome to the Pebble in My Shoe podcast. I'm Miffy Hoad, your host here, and I speak with my guests here about the pebble in their shoe. The pebble in my shoe is an analogy for an inner niggle or knowing that becomes so insistent that we have to pay attention. We can ignore it only for so long and eventually have to stop to investigate it, listen to it, and honor what it's telling us. It becomes a catalyst for action, to change something that no longer serves us. This can be something internal, like a belief or a mindset. It can be about how we behave in certain situations or relationships. Or it can be something that changes our life trajectory, like ending a relationship, changing careers, or moving to a different place. Taking the action and making the change invariably requires courage, often a leap of faith, and at the very least, to try something new and outside of our comfort zone. Whatever the action or change happens to be, the pebble ultimately moves us to live more authentically and more aligned to our true nature. My intention for the conversations here is to inspire or offer hope to those of you who resonate with the stories shared, that you will hear something that supports you on your own journey, and if there's a pebble in your shoe, that you'll find the courage to make the changes that align you closer to your authentic self. Thank you for being here, and let me introduce today's guest. Today I'm talking to Aisling Cullen, aka the Queen Bee. She's the queen of candles, coffee and cocktails, loves all things pink, tutus, sparkles and pom-poms, has a serious problem with buying scents but is working on it, quite literally, in her business, the Kandle Queen, where she produces bespoke scented candles that you can have your company logo, message or name added to. I'm delighted to welcome Aisling Cullen.
Thank you, Miffy. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm so excited and delighted now to be on this.
Lovely. So we all like a nice candle, I know that, but I don't suppose you arrived at making candles and being the Kandle Queen just in the flip of an overnight decision. So Aisling, tell me a little bit about yourself, please.
Okay, so my name is Aisling Cullen, and I was born in Tipperary, where I have two brothers, and I'm lucky to have my parents still alive as well. So yeah, I got married to my husband PJ when I was 22 and have four kids, three girls and a surprise, my little boy at the end. So we did. So yeah, and I've been a stay-at-home mum for like the last 25 years, even though I know I've started my business or whatever, I'm still a stay-at-home mum, to be honest. He's only 15.
Okay. So Aisling, as you know, on this podcast, we talk about those nudges, those intuitive hunches we have that maybe are with us for a long time about things we want to do or change or, kind of put in place in our lives. What are the pebbles that have been in your shoe? Has there been one? Have there been many? Or just talk to me about that a little bit.
Yeah, there's been a few, and I think, to be honest, I think we always have a pebble. When you get rid of one pebble, another one seems to appear after a couple of years or whatever. So the first one, I suppose, was like that. The kids got older, and I said I'd love to do something just for me, for myself, because I was childminding after minding the kids. Got to the stage that it just wasn't lighting me up. So I met a friend of mine. And like that, I always said, what? I have been thinking about a business for years, but I was always there going, I can't bake, I can't, there was businesses that were coming into my head and I was there going, I don't have any talent in that. So I met her, she's a pottery maker, and I said to her, I need something, to keep me going. And so she got me to write down all the things that I was interested in, and candles was the thing that just came to my head. And she said, go home and make candles. And I was there going, no, but like you need to have, and she said, just go home. So I went home, told the kids that this is what I was doing, and literally that Christmas they had bought me all the stuff to start a candle business, and that was literally where it started. Yeah, I had no indication of how to make a candle, but like that, online courses and learning stuff yourself, trying and error or whatever, and that's where I started. So that was that pebble in my shoe. Yeah.
So can we go back then a little bit to that? Because I love that process that your friend helped you with to write down all the things you're interested in. And so what came out on tops was candles. So Tell me a bit about that. Like, is that something you've always been interested in, or just something that you've had a passion for?
I've had a passion. I like that. Like everyone. I mean, the minute you go into a house or like a hotel or anything, you get the scent of it, and it was always, oh my God, what, I wonder what that scent is, or oh my God, that's my favorite scent. Then you smell another one, you say, no, that's my favorite scent. Everyone's been at the Joe Malone counter or whatever and smelled all the ones, So it's always been there, but I didn't actually ever think I could make a business out of making them myself. Now looking back on it, it was always there, but I suppose it took that, like that, writing everything down and just seeing exactly what kept coming to the fore for me
Mm.
or whatever. That was, yeah, the catalyst to making it happen.
So, what was there was this natural interest in this
Mm,
aspect, of scented candles and the smells. I'm thinking more than anything is what
yeah,
sort of is interest.
yeah,
But then the pebble in your shoe was more about doing something for yourself, doing something outside of raising
the
your kids.
yeah,
And so it was growing this part of yourself that would doing something else.
yeah, exactly. Because I have my little fella, he's been sick, so I was concentrating on him for like I'd say 10 good years or whatever, and so I didn't have time.
Tell us a little bit about your son, please.
Yeah, no problem. So when my son was born, it was a kind of an emergency situation or whatever, and I had to be rushed off for a hysterectomy or whatever, and came around the next day, and everything was perfect. I had my baby boy, I was happy with life, and it was life was going great for a couple of years until he suffered terrible with his bowels, and so I went to every doctor in the country, I'd say, and every specialist, but I thought it was my fault because he was my only boy. I thought maybe I treated him differently than the girls. Maybe, I hadn't trained him properly. But anyway, it came to a stage like that. He went through school. Looking back on it now, Miffy, it was taking over our lives, but I didn't feel that at the time. That sort of way? It's only when you look back now and say we were just existing, to be honest, the pair of us, him and myself or whatever, because I suppose because I was a stay-at-home mom, I took it all on, and my husband works long hours, so it was the nighttime was the worst part of it. Yeah, so it came to a head when he was 12. He was diagnosed with a condition that he should have been diagnosed with when he was born, and he's so lucky to be alive, to be honest, because if it's not picked up in the first 6 months of his life, he shouldn't be here.
Wow. Can I ask you what that condition's called, Aisling?
Hirschsprung's disease.
Hirschsprung's disease. Okay, wow. So it's a rare condition then.
Yeah, but it's not overly rare, but he's one in 8 million that has never, it wasn't picked up as they were a baby or whatever. So even when they were testing for it, they said there's no way he has this because he couldn't have got to this age without it affecting him. Now, it was affecting him and affecting us, but not to the extent that some people get it really, hard. I don't know, because now that I've talked to parents that have kids have had it from birth and they've been doing it, it sounds a different thing altogether. But anyway, he was diagnosed with that. Thank God, it was the biggest relief of our lives, to be honest, that he had a diagnosis, and at least we knew what was causing it. And then he had an operation, and thank God he's been thriving since. In the hospital, then the nurse, when he was diagnosed that day, that was another catalyst for me taking off my business. Was she said to him, "You've been left on this earth for a reason." And I feel she said it to me as well. Like, I took it on board, he took it on board. So yeah, it's all snowballed from there. That if you have somebody believing in you, I think there is a reason that the two of us are still here talking about it, to be honest.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. So first of all, I just want to congratulate you on that, because it's such a challenging journey and road when you have somebody in your life who is so unwell, and yet you're struggling to have a diagnosis so that you can get the right treatment. And that's a massive journey that you went on with him, and for all of you, for your family.
Yeah, yeah.
So just to acknowledge that, Aisling, wow.
Yeah, yeah. No, it is when you look back, but we didn't know any different. That was just the way it was.
Sure. Yeah, you do what you have to do, don't you, to get by.
Exactly.
That nurse saying, you've been left on this earth for a reason. to your son, but that you heard that too for yourself. And a lot of my guests will have mentioned moments in their lives whereby something happened and they can remember the moment so vividly because it was quite visceral and they really heard something or they really felt something. So can you talk to me a bit, Aisling, about that moment, about hearing those words and what happened for you internally?
It was like a switch going off. I know that sounds stupid, but I think because we were going through the thing, I was like a robot. It was robotic, everything we were doing day in, day out. It was samey, like it was like Groundhog Day all over again. But when she said that, it was like a switch turning on for me that I just thought, yeah, do you know what? There is a reason we're left here, and whatever life throws at us after this, we can get through it, because that was the worst thing, do you know? Because even afterwards, she said to us, I can't believe that you just took the diagnosis and you just said, right, what do we have to do next? There was no crying, no screaming, no saying, oh God, why did this happen? Like, we didn't have any of that. It was like the relief and then like, right, switch on and what is next? I think it opened up something in me that I didn't realise was closed until that moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I can still see her standing there and saying that. Talked to her about it since. And every time I meet her, I say to her, you don't realise, and I don't think she really does realise what she did for the two of us that day.
Yeah.
To know, there'd be no word to ever thank somebody, to know, for doing that.
And I think that sometimes, you're saying how you don't think that you'd ever be able to thank her enough, but maybe what you're doing is actually an expression of gratitude by taking it on and making the changes. And speaking of that, Aisling, what were the changes then that moment then instigated? Because clearly you took that moment on board, you took those words, they opened something up in you that you didn't realize was closed. So that required then some kind of change and some kind of courage, I imagine.
Yes.
Take me through that, please.
Yeah, it was just that somebody had said, this is why that's happening. That, like, as I've been told from nurses and doctors down through the years, it was my fault, and it was, there was something I had done, and that gets kind of into you then or whatever. But to know that there was actually a medical reason for it, that it wasn't my fault, that I could start believing in myself and say no. Like, I do still have that mother instinct that I knew something was wrong. The doctors are supposed to know, every medical person you go to is supposed to know or whatever. So I thought that it just made me start believing in myself more, that I could trust my instinct again.
Yes, gosh, that's so powerful, Aisling, because all those years you were being negated and your voice was being silenced as this child's mother, and you were advocating for him and it's falling on deaf ears. But then to have that confirmed and affirmed that you were right all along and that your instinct was correct, and now for you to be able to trust that again, that is so huge.
It was huge, and it is still, because like, I look at him and think, thank God, like, we kept you alive. There was somebody else looking out for us as well. I truly believe that, but we did keep him alive, like myself and my husband and family or whatever. Like, he's there for a reason. He's definitely.
Wow.
Yeah, sorry, Miffy.
No, please don't apologize. I think one of the reasons it resonates so deeply is that my daughter had a similar experience with her oldest.
Oh my God.
That she knew there was something not right with this child, and in terms of her development, and she was told over and over again that she was a sleep deprived first time mother and neurotic. She was actually accused of having Munchausen syndrome by proxy.
Oh my God.
But the reason I share this is because she too had that feeling of, being just negated.
Yes.
Her instinct has saved her daughter's life on more than one occasion. That intuitive hunch needs help. So I think maybe that's why your story resonates so much. But I think that as mothers, very often we get dismissed. And I don't want to bash the health system because there's some amazing people there, but I do think that there is this authoritarian kind of, we're the experts that has come along over the last few hundred years, where medicine has become this big, sort of machine. And we get dismissed. And I just love to hear that you have reclaimed your power to trust your instinct, because our instinct and our intuition is such a vital part of being in the world.
Yes, yeah. No, and I like that, because I would thought like this was my fourth child. Like, I should know that people would say, well, she's after having kids before, she must know what she's talking about. Yeah, your intuition is the thing that leads you, and it should have, but it was bet out of me. Well, not bet out of me, I don't mean it like that, but like that, kind of pushed down to make me feel that it was a problem I had, not an actual medical problem.
Yeah, I applaud you for sticking to your guns and standing your ground and eventually getting a diagnosis for your son.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank God his life has changed. Literally, the minute he had the operation, it was like another switch went off, and he's just been thriving and thriving since.
Wow. So his life must have been quite severely limited prior.
Yeah. Now, thank God he looks back on it as not that bad, but it was that bad. But I'm glad that he doesn't have that recollection of it as much. He doesn't look back in school, like school was just awful, but he doesn't, thank God, he doesn't remember any of that part. Like, he likes walking out in the fields. He's a very deep thinker or whatever. So he's a great, oh my God, he's a great child.
Yeah.
Like them all now. Yeah.
Yeah, and it sounds like he's got great parents, not least a great mother.
The two of us are good. We're a good mixture or whatever. And then my three girls are just angels. They're angels, so they are. But it's funny. I never thought it impacted the family as much as, looking back on it now, we were literally just existing. We were not a family as such. It was the first holiday after he had his operation felt like the first holiday we'd ever taken together.
Okay.
The first Christmas. It was like everything was a first after that.
Wow.
Yeah, but it's just whatever opened up that day just started us off on a different path altogether, which I am so grateful to. So grateful.
So tell me about yourself, Aisling, and the transition for you. What changes occurred and what did you step into or lean into following this?
Yeah, well, as I say, I leaned into my intuition more, but then I leaned into, like, because at that stage, oh my God, what age was I? I was coming up to nearly 50, 40 age or whatever. I started believing in myself, and then I started thinking, because I was always putting myself down and never get into photograph, like everything. But then I started saying, oh, this is me. Like, I am who I am, and I'm not going to be hiding anymore. I was always the person that said no to everything. Like, I never, did anything. Started, coming out of my shell. And I thought, because I would never have discussed it with any of my friends really exactly what was going on. But now that I started talking, people said, oh my God, we knew that was something. But it's like I'm a different person. They said, you're coming back to the way you were, putting yourself out there. And at this stage of my life, I'm just there going, I am what I am. And you didn't take me or leave me or whatever. I'm loving life, and like, I prefer to be happy and friendly to everyone. I don't want to be negative or whatever. So it's just not me. It was never me, but I suppose I did get a bit more negative because I was there thinking, oh, this has happened to just us and this just happened to me and blah, blah, blah. But now I'm there going, no, like, life is for living. And that's the way I've approached everything since that. I say yes to as much as I can. I just loving life more, to be honest.
Yeah. And that's saying yes to life when you can. With the first few times you did that.
Yeah.
What was that like?
Oh my God, it was great. I mean, sure, I was saying no to stuff that I wanted to do.
Yes.
So now that I'm able to say yes to things that I want to do, it's so empowering. Like, whatever, you just switch it up or whatever. Like, I love the dressing up. I love colours. I love all that kind of stuff. I was like a black widow, I think, for 10 years, mourning something now, looking back, that I didn't know at the time I was mourning. That sort of way. But now I'm back. My God.
you've said a couple of times about being back and that your friends have said you're coming back to yourself. So take me back then to the earlier version of you, Aisling,
Oh my God.
that maybe wasn't afraid to say yes to the world. How were you in your younger years?
In my younger years, that I was very quiet. I was very shy, to be honest, when I was in school and that. And then like that, I got married. I met my husband when I was 18 and I got married at 22, but I was very quiet, extremely quiet.
What is it that you can identify as being that part of you that was kind of absent or ignored over the years, that your son wasn't well?
In your intro, whatever you said, I loved tutus, pom poms, all that. Like I was that kind of a girl. Like I always wanted a sister. I had two brothers. Always wanted a sister. So when I had my girls, like it was like this is perfect because I'm a really girly girl, and love all that kind of stuff. So, but I had lost that part of me thinking that I could wear that stuff. Yeah, I suppose I was hiding, but now that I'm able to embrace that side of me, I'd go around with a crown on my head. I just love showing off a bit of personality.
Yeah, yeah, and that's what I'm hearing. And that's, you said earlier how, there was a long period of time where you were maybe in mourning for a life for your son, maybe. I mean, I'm putting words in your mouth here, but, what were you mourning, Aisling?
I was more on maybe the freedom, like when I had my other kid, I felt I had more freedom, but I suppose with him, I was trying to cocoon him. We were kind of cocooned. So I felt I didn't have that freedom. Like I'd be everywhere. I brought my kids to school, dropped my kids in school. If they were at a party at 3 o'clock in the morning, I was there picking them up. Like I would be, there's nowhere I wasn't. Like I'd be always in the car, I'd never hardly be at home because when I was at home, you'd have to think, but he'd be with me obviously now, but so I was on the road morning, noon and night. Like the minute I dropped the kids to school, I was gone for the day until I collected them. Then I'd bring them home for a while. Then they'd have after school activities or there'd be a match on or there'd be something and we'd be gone again. So I had more freedom with the girls. We had great times in that period as well, but it's just I was always in black. Just wasn't myself.
Yeah. Yeah, and I suppose for those listeners maybe who are identifying with this story, and with your experience, I just think that there's probably quite a lot of that experience of life events suddenly shifting us into this, I don't know, operational mode where you just have all this stuff that has to get done. And that is where you invest all of your energy. And these parts of yourself, this colorful dressing part of yourself just gets parked or left in the hallway or whatever, because there isn't space for it, because you're just dealing with survival mode, really, isn't it? In that time.
Yeah, and I thought because I don't mean I had no dreams when I was younger, but there was no job that came into my head that I wanted to work towards. Now I worked as a secretary until I got married or whatever. I always wanted to be a stay-at-home mum because my mum, she only worked part-time, but I remember her dragging myself home the days she was working. And so I always said, this is what I want for my life. I'll be home. And I thought I would be the mum that would be a cool, like go to cook and go to all that. But I definitely wasn't that kind of a mum. I would have been there, but I feel then maybe for those couple of years, the girls lost a part of me as well. Now, I was there, but yeah, looking back on it now, I always feel, was I really there for them as well? Well, my oldest was 10 when Noah was born and my youngest was 5. But I'm always worried they didn't see the best part of me. But now, by good God, they're seeing the best part of me.
Yeah. What you're doing now, Aisling, is modeling for them. No matter what stage of life you're at, you can grow, you can, lean into who you are. Can you tell me a little bit about courage and where that shows up for you in your life?
Courage. Oh God, Miffy. Courage. Yeah, to me, what is courage? To be honest, I feel I have been brave in coming out of my shell, and like that. I feel now if something like happened in life or whatever, that I would be able to take it on board. Like I'd be able to stand up more for myself or any of my family or, against, I'd say, no, start asking questions. Whereas I didn't. I did at the start probably ask questions, but then I just let it go. So I suppose that courage is coming back to the fore again now or whatever, that I'm there. Maybe I should have asked questions or whatever. So I probably did lose that kind of backbone or whatever. I don't know what you'd call it. But I suppose courage now for me is going forward that I ask questions about everything. I don't go into anything, willy-nilly or whatever. There's always a reason. And I back myself. I back myself now in everything. I'm not doubting myself and saying, oh, maybe not, maybe I should ask somebody else. And they're going, no, this is what we're doing, and this is where we're going. This is what's happening or whatever. So I suppose that's my courage coming out now. But was it always there? Probably not.
Yeah.
Even before, I suppose my parents are great, but they were strong people, and I suppose I just kind of conformed to a lot through life or whatever, and I suppose I just continued to do that then for years. But now I don't.
Yeah.
If I thought it was something that wasn't 100%, and I was there going, no, I'm able to speak up about my doubts now, whereas I wasn't always.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting, and also a very powerful quality to be able to foster. I hear this from a lot of my guests, resonate with it myself, around this conforming to some kind of pattern or program or idea or convention that we're supposed to live by, in inverted commas, right? And how it does take a bit of wherewithal and a bit of courage and a bit of finding ourselves to actually find our voice, to find our backbone, and that ability to like you said, a lovely thing there. You said, I've got my own back. In that sense, that you've got your back, as in you advocate for yourself. And I think that's a really powerful place to be able to advocate for yourself, because it's not something we're taught really as kids, is it?
Yeah, no, we weren't. So I like that. I was the quiet child in my home, whatever. I had a brother that was 2 years older than me, and he's not quiet or whatever. So I probably always fell into that kind of, like Aisling is, she's quiet and she's easy going, and I am to a certain extent still or whatever. But yeah, no, not as much. But like that, when you're put in a box, it's hard to break yourself out of that box, because it's in your head. They had the kids in school or whatever, like you were Holly's mother, Eve's mother. You were never your own name.
Yes.
Was not used that much or whatever. So to come out of that and say, no, this is who I am now.
Lovely. Yeah, because we're not just one thing, are we? We can be that quiet person who's maybe a little bit shy, but we can also wear mad colors and, loads of bracelets and all of that stuff. And that, they may seem juxtaposed, but they're just part of who we are and what we like. And living into all those aspects of ourselves is really important, but also knowing that other people might not get that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's lovely to hear you talk about how you have got all these aspects to your personality. You're not just boxing yourself in anymore into that conforming to, well, Aisling is a nice, quiet, kind girl.
Yeah, I suppose, but we're evolving all the time. I would have thought I don't have no creative bone in my body. That's what we were kind of always taught or whatever. But I do. I have creative talents, but it's just not in the way I thought creation, was. We're evolving all the time, and like that, oh, I don't like such and such food, but you've never tasted such and such food. So now when you open yourself up to one thing, it leads you into other things. They're saying, well, maybe I didn't like that years ago, but how I might like it now. That just because you said no that time doesn't mean you're always going to say no.
Yes, you can change your mind.
Yeah.
Can you talk to me a little bit more as well about your intuition and how it manifests for you? When you have an intuitive nudge or hit, how do you know that that's what it is?
Yeah, I didn't actually for years. I used to hear people talking about a voice or somebody, giving them intuition, and I was always there. I must be the only person in the world that doesn't have that. But like that, when I started my business or whatever, and then it leads you. I remember like that. I've opened myself up to podcasts and going for walks and listening to other people's stories that you kind of go, oh, like that. For a while there, I was getting a voice in my now, and I mean a voice screaming at me, and I was there going, no, this must be what people are talking about, to start up my candles and cocktails, which is another part of my business that I absolutely love. It's letting me be another creative side just took over. Every time I went out for a walk, it was the only thing I could hear. I couldn't hear a podcast I was listening to. It was just, that was the biggest nudge other than the candle one, to get that started.
Can I just get clear then on something? So when you're talking about how your intuition lands with you, you actually hear the words in your head. Yeah, that's lovely.
Yes. Yeah, and it's other stuff now have come up like that as well. Now suppose maybe I've started meditating and like that, the gratitude journals, all that kind of stuff in the last couple of years. So I suppose it's all working in my favour now. Whereas years ago, I was convinced that somebody was literally just going to knock on the door and say like this. So I suppose I'm putting the work in now, and then whoever's listening to me on the other side is, this is your path. This is what you should be doing. And it brings you other bits. And like that, now I had a reading, the girls or my kids got it for me for my birthday, and a Kandle Queen to me is me, is Aisling, but I'm called Kandle Queen and I'm called Queenie, and I love all that, and that is, but it's still not Aisling on her own. Do you know, that sort of way? It's another personality that I think. So she said to me, and what does Aisling want to do? And I'm there going, no, but Aisling is, and she said, no, but like you yourself. And so now my head is going crackers at the minute, like my intuition is there going. So it's leading me to stuff now that I'm there going, oh, I used to like that years ago when I was even like a small child. So now I'm looking for ways, something for just me. Now I'm saying that Kandle Queen is going to keep going on, and I have great plans for our Kandle Queen. See, I talk about it in the third person. The intuition, that's the way it shows up for me at the minute.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing then in all of that, Aisling, is that Kandle Queen is like an alter ego, that you have created this business. You make candles, you do them designed and bespoke to order, but you also host these candles and cocktails events.
Yes.
So that's happening there. That's the Kandle Queen business. But now your intuition is saying, and through that reading that you had, what about Aisling now? Just something that is just for you, that isn't a business where you're kind of coming really home to yourself.
Yeah. And I'm excited to see where it's going, because it's shown me stuff that I would never, ever have thought have in years. Like, I laugh because the other day I was talking to one of my daughters and I was saying to her, my favourite job in a news agent's years ago, it was used to open early in the morning, and everyone in the town used to come into the shop before they got on the bus, and I had the chats with everyone, and that was my favourite job in the world.
Yeah.
So I'm there going, So I think I need to be around people more. Yeah, because the candle business is lovely. But like that, if people order the stuff off the website, like, you mightn't even ever get to meet them. You send off your candles and you're hoping that they love them and they send back the review and all that's good, but you don't actually meet the person that's buying from you. Now, at the candles and cocktails night, I have that connection, but then that's only once a month at this stage or whatever. Like, I think I need a connection a couple of days a week. So I need to be doing something that's going to get me to do that.
Okay.
Whatever that is. Watch this space.
Yeah, and by the sound of it, intuition will let you know what that is.
Yeah.
So we've spoken about courage and we've spoken about your intuition. I'm curious now, Aisling, to ask you about the difference that this has made in your life.
Oh my God. It's like day and night, to be honest. It's opened up so many different possibilities that I never, like, I thought the way life was going on at that stage, like, if that had kept going, God knows, do you know what would have happened? But I feel I never would have come out menopausal, like perimenopausal at that stage as well, because I had had the hysterectomy after he was born. So I think I went straight into menopause, and like that, I feel that it happened at the perfect time. Maybe I wasn't ready for it until that time as well. like my little fella was finished up in primary school, and I was on a different stage of my life or whatever. So I think at that stage I was probably ready for it. But looking back, it feels like I'm watching somebody else's life during those years compared to now. It's like it was just like a black hole. Thank God I didn't feel, well, I probably did feel I was in a black hole at the time. I'm very confused now, I'd say, Niffy, at this stage talking about it. But it's just, if I knew that the possibilities of how good this life was going to be now compared to then, oh my God, I don't think I would have believed it either. Do you know, I think it was just coming, because like that, I was coming up to my 50s or whatever. I think that was a catalyst as well. Like, I loved turning 50. Oh my God, I thought it was the best thing ever. Like, it gave you another freedom or whatever. It's like restarting your life. I feel like I'm 25 again and it's been restarted.
Wow. Yeah. And if there was some bit of advice you could give your younger self?
Oh my God. Probably when I wouldn't change like that. There's no part of my life that I would change. But I wish I had probably travelled more, or
Okay.
moved out of home, or tried out a few different um, career types or whatever. Like that, when we left school, we were told to either get a secretarial job or marry a rich man. Do you know, that was our choices at that stage, unless you actually knew what you wanted to do. Like some people that knew, but I hadn't a clue, and probably needed to wait until I was nearly 50 to realise what I did want to do. I don't think I ever had an ambition at that stage. So I just love people to try be able. I always say that TY, the transition year in school, should be done after you're leaving, so that people can try out stuff before they think they're on the college route or what they have to do. You know, it's too young to be making any decisions or whatever. So to say to my girls to travel like that, say yes to as many things as you can or whatever, and just enjoy life. Now I'm saying that maybe I did, you know, enjoy it, but I just wish I had been braver. Probably that's the word I'm looking for. I wish I had been braver to do things, but it just wasn't in my personality type at that time.
Now you have managed to find your brave by the sound of it. Aisling, tell me about your business now, because we've touched on it and so on, but just, you know, pitch Kandle Queen to us.
Well, Kandle Queen, like as you see from my bio and everything else, I do not take myself seriously. It's a serious business, but it's not. It's my time. It's my happy place. It saved me so much when I used to come in. Like I have the tiniest desk or whatever, and I have my big Bertha, as I call her, my wax melter to make my wax melt. And literally, when you're making candles, you need to switch off. Like you can't be thinking of anything else, because you have to concentrate on the temperature, getting that right, the scent, everything else to make it, you know, you want to make it as perfect. And like that, I hand pour every candle that I make. I don't make them in big batches. They're small kind of orders or whatever. And I always say a scent is so personable. I love lavender. Lavender was the first candle I made, but there's some people that absolutely detest the smell of lavender. It's just such a relaxing area to be in. Like I even just come in here sometimes, not even to make a candle, but just to sit on my desk, like a windows on either side or whatever, and just say, oh my God, this is me. This is my business. This is Kandle Queen's headquarters or whatever. I love it. And I love sharing that knowledge with people.
Brilliant. And so what could I expect to order from you?
Okay, so when you on my website, I have a load of different scents, not like lemongrass, lavender lemongrass. I have Nana's Kitchen. I have sweet orange and chili. I have loads of different scents, but the ones I love maybe are the ones that come to me and say, I'm after smelling such and such scent. I've been on holidays in Sardinia, I've been in holidays down the country, and this smell, can you replicate it? And it's personal to somebody, you know, so I will do everything I can to replicate it or whatever. Or I have a lot of small businesses that buy off me for their retreats and stuff, and they know exactly what scent they want. So I do up like little testers for them, send them off to them, they smell them and they say, no, that's perfect, that's what I want to share with my clients.
Okay.
So it is so personal. It's
Yes. And so do you put logos on candles?
Yeah, no, I can put the logos on it or whatever, have them different colours. I have different jars. I have small jars because people just want you know, a little, especially for a retreat or something, they just want a little one that they can send off with people on a goodie bag, or else they can make bigger ones. Yeah, they come in all scents, all sizes. Like, as I say, I have, at the start, I had a serious problem. I was buying nearly every scent because I was there going, oh, I wonder what that smells like. I wonder. And now I've kind of pared it back because like they were taken over. But I love making the whatchamacallit, the essential oil ones, because the smell from them is just so totally different. And then like that, you can use it as a little balm. Do you know, when they've stopped burning or whatever, you can use it a little bit. Like it's soya wax. It's so natural. They're all natural products, and the difference between soya wax is amazing. And unless you've tried it, you can't, because a lot of people say, oh no, I can't have candles in my house because I get headaches, the ceiling things, and I'm there going, that's because you're not using soya wax. You're buying a soya wax product that you think it is from other shops or whatever, but they aren't actually soya wax when you actually look into the details of it. So unless you've bought a handmade candle from somebody that makes it with hand soya wax, it's such a difference. It's such a difference. So I tell anyone to shop their local, because there's somebody local to everyone that makes soya wax candles.
Okay, so the soya wax is natural, and then your scents, you're saying about essential oils, you're using natural scent as well. Yeah.
Yes,
So
natural essential oil.
or anything like that.
Yeah, no, literally that's the only two things that go into the product or whatever. So they're so natural. So they are, yeah, whatever.
Love.
No, I love it, yeah. And but it's a part of me now. I feel, you know, when I go anywhere now, I'm just captivated with I was always captivated, but now it's just kind of going, oh, no, don't tell me what it is. I want to smell it to see if I can pick out the scents from it or whatever. So yeah, no, I love it.
Yeah, and just as I suppose we bring our conversation to a close, can I ask you, Aisling, about whether you feel there's a thread that has run through your life that you have in some way followed?
I suppose I feel I was creative all the time, but I think because we were told in school that there was always somebody better than you, so there's no point in going down that route. Concentrate on something else. So I think it was there all the time, but I just needed something to happen to bring me back to that love of the creative processes now that it have to bring me in to start a fabulous business and giving me so many different ideas or whatever. So creativity was always there. Yeah, I don't know if that's answering your question properly now, but
well, yeah, I'm just curious about this because I feel like sometimes we feel like we're lost and we go through phases in our life that are really challenging and difficult. But there's something that is a common thread throughout, or some part of us that remains steadfast, even though parts of us is getting thrown around.
Yeah.
Creativity maybe is what it was for you.
I don't know if you listen to the Wandering Paddy, his poems, but he has one like that, and it's like we all have like a little flame, like it could be just a flicker, but it stays no matter what happens through life. And then when it's ready to be fanned again, it's either you bring it up or else it just disappears altogether. And I think, yeah, like that, I think you're born with something like that, and it comes all the way along until you are ready to come out the other side. So I feel now my fire it's after been fanned some way, and this is who I was supposed to be. I truly believe I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be, if that makes sense.
It absolutely does, Aisling. Thank you so much for sharing your story. You've just given me some lovely insight into how people navigate life and the challenges that people face and what you have faced, but that you have come through and come out the other side with this renewed vigor and this love of life and really living your life to the full now. Thank you so much, Aisling.
Thank you, Miffy. Thanks so much for letting me tell my story now, to be honest.
Thank you for listening to The Pebble in My Shoe. I've so enjoyed talking to Aisling, and I really feel a strong sense of how Aisling has embraced that life has happened for her and her family rather than to her and her family. and all the challenges that they've gone through collectively and individually with her son's health challenges and everything has really brought them all probably to a better place. But it's lovely to see Aisling thriving and really embracing life and all it has to offer. So I'm going to put all of Aisling's contact details in the show notes so that you can make contact. And if you want to order a bespoke candle, you can. If you've enjoyed listening to The Pebble in My Shoe, please like, subscribe, and share it with others. It makes it easier for other people to find the podcast. And if you have a story to tell about a pebble in your shoe, please get in touch because I'd love to talk to you about it for the listeners. As well as hosting this podcast, I'm a personal growth coach at the Daisy Coaching Hub, where I provide one-to-one coaching for personal growth, group classes and events, and self-directed resources that support, nurture, and energize you on your own personal growth journey. You can follow me on Instagram at Daisy Coaching Hub and also on Facebook and LinkedIn. You can visit my website, www.daisycoaching.ie, and also subscribe to my newsletter to be kept informed of the latest happenings at the Daisy Coaching Hub and also receive inspiration and resources to support, nurture, and energize you. I really look forward to sharing the next episode of The Pebble in My Shoe with you. Bye for now.